Well, thank you everybody for joining the Martin Eiden team for a market outlook for 2023. We're starting a new thing this year. It's called the Third Thursdays, where the third Thursday of every month, we're going to have a snapshot look at what the market is, what's going on, what's happening, what's not happening, and all that stuff. And we thank you all so much for joining us right now. We are on many live stream social sites as well. So welcome everybody looking in from everywhere, so to speak. So first of all, let me introduce everybody on the team, the Martin Eiden team here. I'm Martin Eiden. I want to first of all introduce Alex Magoob. Say hi to the crowd, Alex.
Hello, everybody. Super excited to be here.
That's great. Alex is our head salesperson on the team here. We're really excited to have him and talk about what's going on. We also have Sean Wilson, who is head of styling and staging for our team. Why don't you say hi, Sean, and say hi to the crowd.
Hello.
Very nice. And we have Adilah Curry here as well. Adilah is our director of new business development. She's going to give us some insights of what people are talking out in the crowd. So thank you so much for being here, Adilah. And then we have Ramses Haji as well here. Ramses is, I call him the Wonder Kid. He is in charge of our rental division here of the Martin Eiden team, managing several buildings in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and a number of luxury condos. And of course, we have Jared Salinas Dick here helping us out. And Jared is head of operations and marketing and making sure this whole thing flows forward and goes ahead. That's so right. First of all, we hope to answer as questions come in on the social media. We'll have Jared bring it up as well as Adilah. They're tracking everything now as we're talking about. And we want to talk about timing. Is it good to buy or sell right now, or what's going on? But Alex, maybe you can point us out first. Can you give us kind of a quick wrap of what 22 was all about?
Yeah, absolutely. To talk about the market, to talk about 2022, we got to go backwards just a little bit and talk about 2020. I know you don't want to, but that's when the pandemic happened. And basically from March to mid-June, New York City was frozen. No one was doing anything. People fled. No one was buying and selling property, not really. And when things opened up in June, you did see a trickle of buyers come in, but everyone was scared. Everyone was scared. Everyone kept saying things are going to go down 10%. Things are going to go down another 10%. That never happened. And if you remember the beginning of January 2021, we got a new president. We got new confidence. We got away from chaos. And if you remember, we had the vaccine rollout. You know, The vaccines made New York safe again, right? Because you didn't need to worry about dying from the virus. I mean,
it's true. No, it's true. I'm laughing.
And beginning, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah.
Fire away.
And beginning in January 2021, we started seeing people come back to New York. And you have to think that at least half of 2020 was a dead year. So you had all of this pent-up demand, people that needed to sell, people that needed to buy, people that were returning to New York. So 2021, arguably for almost every realtor in New York City, was their best year ever. Tremendous deal volume, helped by really low, artificially low mortgage rates, okay? And what happened in 2022 was that those rates essentially doubled, going from around 3% to now we're just above 6%. When mortgage rates go up, when interest rates go up, it makes financing more expensive, impacts buyers' purchasing power, and demand kind of started slowing down. If 2021 was a frenetic, crazy, gangbusters year, 2022 was about a return to normalcy. Things that go up must come down. So 2022 was a lot of that, a lot of up and down, a lot of up and down. But I will say we ended the year on a high note. December, we saw good deal volume, good deal flow, buyers getting accepted offers, sellers willing to negotiate a little bit. And now we're here in the beginning of January 2023, and I think this is going to be a really good year.
Oh, very good. I agree, Alex, and thank you so much. So yes, 2021, just as a quick recap there, was a roller coaster year, right? We started off the year coming off of the high of 2021. So 2022 had Q1 on that. Interest rates inflation, stock market correction, put a pause really on Q2. I did an email for a client today on this. And then Q3 had a little bit of a trickle. There was a little bit of election anxiety that has happened in the polarization of this country right now. But buyers have come back in December. December was one of our best months here for the team. We did over $10 million in that month alone. And what's interesting now, and again, this is just, I just did a report right before this, kind of coming into January 2023. As an FYI, we're 19 days into the month. The team here, we've already have 2 sales done, 2 accepted offers, contracts out. We're negotiating on another 2 deals, and every rental that we had listed is essentially has been rented as well. So why are some of these things happening, you may ask? Well, number one, interest rates are the lowest it's been in 4 months. Back in, around election time, interest rates were hovering around 7. And by the way, the rates that we're talking about now are 30-year fixed. Most buyers are not doing 30-year fixed. They're doing a 7-1, 10-1 ARM, which means it's a fixed interest rate for 7 or 10 years, interest only. So their monthly payments go down substantially. And those are all under 5% right now, which is, again, going back to pre-COVID normal. That is the numbers that we have on it. So, and then an extra side note, if you're a buyer or a seller, why would somebody do a 7 or 10-year ARM? And Alex, you want to tackle that question?
Most likely they'll be gone out of the house by the time they sell it.
Yeah,
by the time you expire that 7 to 10 year timeline.
Absolutely. So contrary to the rest of the nation here, New Yorkers, Manhattanites, Brooklynites, Long Island City, most people will stay in their place for less than 5 years. Reason for that is they often trade up or trade sideways or trade up, trade down. They may move. So, that's the idea, where you're able to keep your expenses minimized for a duration of time and really capitalize on the appreciation of New York City real estate, which has had a tremendous growth, and we think it will continue as well. So, Adilah, I just wanted to touch base with you. I know that you reach out as new business development, and you reach out to a lot of sellers right now. What are you hearing from them, or it's like, are they a little bit? Are they apprehensive about the market? Do they feel the market is down? What is your take? And again, we're here trying to be transparent of what you're seeing, and we can kind of chime in on what's perhaps is happening the same or different from what their perceptions are.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think the drop in interest rates is going to fare really well for the sellers. Many of them, interestingly enough, some of the sellers that I've spoken with, they've had their home on the market, they've wanted to sell, but because inventory is so low, they've decided to stay put for a little bit longer, and they're looking. So I would encourage people to list now because inventory is low. Additionally, I've spoken to sellers that have found something. It's not exactly what they want, but they are renovating the property. They're staying in their homes until the property is renovated. But there are motivated sellers on the market. And again, with the drop in interest rates, I think it's an excellent time for buyers to come out. Sellers are ready, willing, and asking for buyers.
Fair enough. So one of the conversations that we had, and also Ramsey's is talking to a lot of sellers as well, is it's always kind of funny that we have a joke here in New York. If it's in the New York Times, it's already old news. And there's kind of a lag, fortunately or unfortunately, with real estate here in New York, which is different than the rest of the country, is between contracts signed and closing is actually 90 days. It's a 3-month window. Our colleagues in California and Florida are often saying, what, 90 days for a closing? It doesn't happen in 72 hours? I don't get it. So the reason for that is that when you see closing results now coming in, those are results of September, October, when the market was very, very slow. So, and again, if you get data, and look, technically you're not supposed to report something until it's actually closed because you never know what happens. So I don't want to take anything from our reporters or any of the news organizations, but they're reporting information that's 3 months old. So this is where I wanted to kind of help out a little bit, which is that a lot of sellers right now feel that the market is slow and down. And the reality is, no, it's not. It's picked up substantially in the last 60 days. And Alex, what is one of the quotes that you heard about selling? When was the best time, and when is the second best time?
The best time to sell is right now, because this inventory shortage is not going to go away. So right now, you still have properties on the market that you can buy for. It's January, so new properties will be coming on right now. But I truly believe as we go forward, supply is going to continue to go down, because I really feel that everyone that had to sell, any kind of reason to sell, they already sold in pandemic or right then after. Again, 2021 was gangbusters. It was a great time to be a seller. So the people who are in New York, they want to be here. They're living here. And I don't think that inventory shortage is going to get any better. But that's another reason for a seller to list, is there are buyers out there waiting, biting at the bit, waiting for quality listings to come to the market that are priced well. You know, things are flying off the shelf if they look good and they're priced well.
Oh, thank you. I agree with you. You know, and again, a little bit of hindsight is always 2020. So in my opinion, yeah, of course, 2021, if it went on the market, it sold, as long as you weren't super greedy, no problem. But we are really in a nice, stable environment right now. And arguably, this is the second best time to sell in the last 5 or 6 years, which is happening right now. And like Alex said, a lot of people are coming back. I already have 3 clients that said, why did I buy in Florida? When can I sell? It was a mistake to move to Austin, Texas. Get me out of there as soon as possible. So what is the joke? Never bet against New York. And for buyers, you know, that's kind of another thing on that is, one of the phrases that we're hearing right now, which seems to make, it may sound a little quirky at first, but it seems to make a lot of sense, is that you buy the property, you rent the rate. Alex, you want to chime in a little bit of what that means?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're buying the property, but rates can change. If you do the 7-1 or the 10-1, after that timeline, the rates could change. You could always go back and refinance if you're on a 30-year when interest rates come down, which they inevitably will. So if today you're paying, a 6.25% interest rate on a 30-year fixed, in 2 or 3 years, if mortgage rates have come down to 4%, you can go back and refinance, and then you'll get the better rate.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. On that, and it's very interesting, and what's great about being in real estate is that you get exposed to other people and you learn from other people too. And the majority of our clients are high net worth or ultra high net worth, and almost all of them shy away from a 30-year fixed because they like the flexibility of a 7-1. And I'm not selling anything. I'm not a mortgage broker. We don't get anything on mortgage brokers. But that is a really interesting tool to use, and it gives you the flexibility to refinance. And buyers, look, prices are down from the peak. Prices are off 5 to 7% of the height of 2021. So now is a good time. Everybody's taking a breath. And I agree with you, Alex, on this in terms of that inventory is low. So, unfortunately, buyers, this is always the joke. You're never going to find the perfect property. But if I say if it's, 80, 85% correct, that really may be a good time for you to really consider it. Alex, you want to share a little bit on our duplex garden apartment that we have right now in Brooklyn, and how buyers, were kicking tires and coming back, and now it's gone.
Yeah, no, this is a great, I think, case study. We had this amazing property, duplex, 1,700 square feet inside, another 1,000 square feet outside, basically a brand new condo, only 2 or 3 years old. I will say when we priced it, we came in a little bit too hot, but the apartment looked amazing. We lowered the price after about 30 days on the market, and we came to market mid-October. As Martin mentioned, that Q3 was a little bit sluggish. September, October, Martin mentioned the nervousness and anxiety around the political election in November, and still the special election in Georgia. But literally, once all of that was behind us, once buyers saw the future and had some confidence and saw mortgage rates coming down a little bit, they started pouncing on properties. And 838 Quincy was one of those properties, the duplex that Martin's referencing. But ironically, after we got one offer, the next day we got another offer. The two offers went kind of at it, put their best foot forward. We accepted an offer very close to our asking. And, literally 1 week later, I get 3 phone calls from other buyers that saw the property in October, that saw the property in November, that saw the property in December, and they were not ready to act. Why? They wanted to see everything on the market. But going back to our point about there being a dearth of supply, they circled back to the best properties, and our property is one of them. But unfortunately, someone else fell in love with it first and jumped on it. So that's the biggest thing, I think, for buyers to understand, that this is not a dead market. This is a market that is very active for great homes that are priced well. So if you're a buyer, go out, see 10 properties with your agent, and pick the best one, right?
Absolutely. I agree with you on that, Alex, on that. And thanks so much. And again, for buyers, just to be transparent, is that we initially priced this at, I think, just under one. Was it under 1.3 or 1.2? 1.2. We priced it just under 1.2, and we dropped it to just under 1.1. So that's a 7-8% drop. And that pricing that we had was the price that was bull market 2021 going into 2022. So the buyers saved some money. The sellers got a good price. They are making a profit on it, and people who waited. And in fact, Alex and I joked earlier today is that we reached out to some of these brokers that were representing the buyers that quote unquote missed the deal, and said, please, and I don't mean it too snarky, but please go back to your buyers and use this as an example that the market is not dead. Things are happening right now. I just want to do a quick shout out for Michael Landsman, one of our esteemed go-to attorneys. Michael, we may hit you up with a question or two if you're up for it a little bit later. It's always fun to have drop-ins, if you will. But let's go to you, Sean, for a minute. So Sean, let's talk about styling and staging. Sean is our in-house styling and stager. He's also branched off and started his own company, Soulful Staging and Design, that is off the charts, super busy, in high demand. So Sean, tell us a little bit about why is it, I think everybody kind of gets what staging does. It makes an apartment look nice, and quote unquote easier to sell. But what exactly does that mean? And what are some tips for sellers?
Okay, so I will start by saying thank you for the plug. That's why I came tonight. But I think staging, when you're selling your apartment, you should look at it as if it's like going on a job interview. And when you show up for a job interview, you want to look your best and present your best. So you should do exactly that for your home when you're putting it on the market to sell. You should present it in the best light possible. And what that gives people an idea of what it's an aspiration. I can live in this place. This is mine. I can do so much with it. So I think the two things you don't want to do is put an empty apartment on the market or put a cluttered apartment on the market. Outside of that, I think the goal is just to present it in the best light possible.
Right. So that means you can use your own stuff, Sean, right? If you're a seller.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to clear it out. But let's talk a little bit about cluttering, because that is a big deal. So just as kind of a news flash, I shouldn't say so much of a news flash, but when I first started this 23 years ago, brokers put a property on the market, and if there was a messy desk with papers on it and kids' toys on the floor, and the beds were usually made. I was going to say beds unmade, but if it was jam-packed, the answer was you got to look through the clutter and see the space. And right. So what has happened with decluttering? What does that do for sellers?
Okay, I'm going to give you an example, a live example, which is I did not intend to do, but this is the perfect example. Okay, and I'm at home. This is my house in this corner. You see that? That's what you do not want. This, you see this over here? This is what you want.
Right. And nobody
So
considered that room.
Well, basically, I'm getting the place ready because it's, whatever. But that's just a good example. This is clutter. You want to remove the clutter. You want to get it out of there. You want to present your place as if it's being ready to be photographed for a magazine. So just eliminating clutter,
Fair enough. No, that's great. And then quickly, Sean, what are some tips for buyers, right? Because, eyes wide open and being completely transparent, most buyers will, first of all, look at furniture stores, go to RH, go to all these aspirational places and say, I want my house to look like this if I'm going to spend 7 figures on a property. Sean is very smart. He makes sure that property has that aspirational feel, that quote unquote, I've made it, or I've worked really hard, or this is a great place to start a family or grow a family or raise a family, or thank God the kids are gone, let me get an extra bedroom for the dog. So what are some tips for buyers looking at a stage property?
Looking at a stage property or a property that's not a stage?
I mean, do you just look at the furniture and fall in love with it? Or do you have to be a little bit more discerning and make sure, how beat up is the place?
Yeah, you do have to be discerning about how beat up the place is. But I got to be honest, the staging, it gives you an idea of what it can be. And if you walk in and you like it's beautifully staged and you like the looks, the windows, whatever you can, I say go for it. I mean, I think staging is designed to give you an idea of what you can do. So,
so it's kind of a lookbook. It's an idea of seeing what's going on.
So it's an idea of what it can be. So I think you see, that's the power of staging. So it's hard for me to answer that question because I'm a stager and my job is to make it look good and make you fall in love and want it. But when I'm staging a property, if there are not great bones, I cannot stage and I can't make it something that is not if the potential isn't there. So, the staging highlights potential.
Fair enough. Well, so just to be a little bit of a counterpoint on that is that a lot of times buyers will, and we work with a lot of buyers, they walk in, it's a beautifully staged home and it's a very emotional pull. Which is exactly what it's supposed to do. I'm emotionally in love with this place, right? Do yourself a favor. Look at the bathrooms, look at the kitchens carefully, look at the walls, look at the conditions of the floors, look at the condition of the windows, right? Because a lot of times what happens is you fall in love with the furniture as opposed to falling in love with the place. And then you buy it, you sign it, maybe you pay something close to something with everything brand new. And that's not really what you're getting, right? So that's my counterpoint. And again, we do styling and staging, and we stand by with everything that we sell. But that's a little tip I wanted to give, or I think it's a valuable tip I wanted to give buyers out there.
Can I just chime in?
Alex,
yeah.
Please do. This is a conversation.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate the permission. So I've been on the team at least 3 years. And when I joined the team, I did not believe in staging. I thought it was weird, unnecessary, a lot of work. But with working with Martin and Sean in particular, I've seen us come in, get a listing that was on with another broker who posted, empty room photos and things like that. We take it over, we stage it. And again, Sean's imagination to create the lifestyle that the avatar buyer is looking for, to create that emotional bond and get a home sold quickly for the most money possible. I've seen this work multiple times. So if there are any sellers listening to this who are unsure, all I say is meet with us, talk to us, see what we can do for you. And we also on our website have lots of different examples of staging projects we've done.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I just say something, Alex, that you reminded me of that's super fun? When we're thinking, when
Feel
we're
free, it's a
creating-
conversation.
Right, it's a conversation, yes. But Alex, we sit around and we talk about who the avatar is, who we think is going to buy this apartment, and we talk about it and we stage to the aspirations of that person, and it's so much fun.
No, I agree. And that is what makes it fun. Michael Landsman, are you in a position to talk at all, or are you on, no, we just lost him. So I guess
On that
Landsman-
note, he's gone.
He's
Right.
done.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
I think he's taking Metro North home. and we just
He
lost
looked like he was on the train. I agree.
Metro North home, we just lost him.
Right.
So
I would like to
Moment,
add something now that we are in a conversation.
Yeah,
I had this building in Mulberry that is like the whole building for rent. And I mean, we came with the idea of like staging one of the units, and it just was such a tremendous help. And when renters just walk in and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, you walk into like rentals and, you know, it's always empty apartments. We had one model which helped us tremendously. And I rented 5 apartments in 4 days. The staging
Wow.
really helps imagine, because they're like, oh, the room is too small. You know how the rentals in New York, when they are empty, they look small, but when you actually put the furniture, it's like, oh, I can put my bed here, I can put my desk here, my dresser, and now they can see what they can do, versus like when it's empty, it's like, is my bed gonna fit here? And then you have to be like, yes, it's gonna fit like this, and it's gonna fit like that, and staging is key.
very good. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ramses, for joining in the conversation with that. So one of the questions that one of the pre-things we had before this was a big thing about timing. Is it a good time to buy or sell or not, or should I wait, or should I hold? Or I missed, you said that 2021 was the best year ever. Do I need to wait and hold out? So I wanted to share some thoughts on that. So first and foremost, you know, if you're buying or selling, it has to be right for you and your life, right? That's number one. You're not buying a stock, although a lot of people like to commoditize residential real estate. The reality is this is going to be a home where you're going to, you know, enjoy yourself. You're going to sleep there. You're going to eat there. You're going to be with people that you love and that you're friends with. So this is your home, right? So first, you know, so that's number one. And in New York, because the transactional cost on average is about 8% of the purchase price, that is correct, 8% of the purchase price, you know, you really need to make it a 4 to 6 year hold to have it make sense for you. So if you know for sure that you're only going to be in New York for 24 months, we tell our people don't buy, rent for 2 years. Why expose yourself to that volatility? Similarly, if you're unsure where you're going to be 2 or 3 years, it may not make sense for you to sell right now. So those are the two things about timing. Number one, it has to be right for you. Having said that, you know, there are some differences that we are seeing in this market as opposed to previous markets. The last really big correction that we had was the Great Recession of 2008. Alex, how much inventory did we have then?
A ridiculous number of apartments. I think something like 11,000. And earlier today, I was glancing at what the numbers for Manhattan were for the supply, and current supply is at 5839. So
Wow.
it's you know, it's not depressive, scary times right now.
Right.
Mhm.
So
But
and I think
can I
also-
just ask? Okay, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Go ahead. Okay,
Go
so
ahead,
how
Sean.
does that make it? But how does that make a difference that there were more then and there are fewer now? How does that affect making
So,
this not as scary a time as that? Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all about supply and demand. So if there's a tremendous amount of supply of apartments, that means people aren't buying. That means people are selling. You know, if there's a lot of supply and no demand, pricing goes down. So now we're seeing supply kind of go down. There's not enough apartments for the people that really want them. So,
Right.
you know, if I was a seller and I saw that number, I would want to list sooner rather than later, because the spring market, we're going to see new listings come on. I would want to get ahead of that.
I agree with you. And as Adilah mentioned earlier, a lot of the sellers that she talks to have said, look, where am I going to go? I'm going to stay here. I would love to move. But you know, they wanted to move to a classic example, and this is changing a little bit, is that the suburbs were so expensive for so long that there was nothing, and the only thing that was left were you know, barely habitable homes to live in. So they're like, you know what, forget about it. Let me stay in New York for another year or two. So you have a lot of those holding people right now. So again, limited supply diminishes the fluctuation of pricing. Number two, interest rates have come down and have stabilized. Look, in the whole world of mortgage rates, it's funny. Some of the clients that we talk to, they say their first interest rate was 18%. And that was a good deal. Trust me, they all refinanced, going back to renting the rate. Right? But they got the property. It was the right time for them. So, you know, yes, like Alex said, they were artificially low. They're okay now. They're not terrible. They're not woohoo. They're okay. So that's another factor of what's going on in the market. You know, we're not financial people. We're not financial analysts. You know, your crystal ball is as good as ours, so to speak. But everything seems to be indicating that you know, that there will be a slowdown of the economy, or we are in a slowdown of the economy. But it doesn't look like a catastrophic off the cliff type thing. This talk of this soft landing. So it probably will be, you know, I will say it. I think it's going to be a minor soft landing here, or a soft landing, if you will, and that also mitigates the fluctuation of what's going on that. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I think in New York City, we did not have a crazy parabolic move like Phoenix or Atlanta going up in pricing 20, 30%. You know, maybe pricing went up 5, 10%. Do you know? So if things, you know, come down just slightly, that's fine. And the fascinating thing about New York City is a lot of the sellers are super financially strong. So if they don't get their price, they're not going to sell. They're going to rent it or take it off the market and hold on to it and live in their place in Connecticut until they can get a better price. You know, so I don't think New York is going to see some major drop. You're going to see tight supply. You're going to see the best properties priced well being fought over by multiple buyers. You know, so again, if you're a seller, let's talk and figure out the right pricing and presentation for you.
Absolutely. And again, going back to buyer, you know, not to sound like we're talking on both sides of our mouth here, but for buyers, prices are down off the peak right now, and interest rates have stabilized. So, you know, again, going back to the very first thing, are you going to be in New York 4 to 6 years? Is the timing right for you? You know, are you comfortable buying? It's a big leap. Trust me, everybody here knows what that's like. So with that, so I think that's kind of the big wrap up. Jared and Adilah, has any questions popped in at all? I know this is kind of a roundtable type thing. So
No
can
question.
can you read that out, Jared? I'm sorry.
Sure, yeah. So we have a question for the group. It was in reference to Sean's incredible speech about styling and staging. They wanted to know about the financial benefits to styling and staging.
So that is a good question. So I think I believe the question is, if I have an empty apartment and I have a staged apartment, what is the price difference that I would be correct? So pricing is one thing, and there's another benefit called time, which arguably is the last luxury left out there. So for example, if we have $1 million property, the price difference of stage versus unstaged is going to be about $75,000. So you're talking about 7.5%. And you know, in New York, $1 million in Manhattan gets you a very nice 1-bedroom. And to stage and style a 1-bedroom, Sean, where do the prices start at? Around 7,500 or so?
I mean, they fluctuate depending on what you want, but the starting would be around 7,500.
Okay, so
the low end.
Okay, well, fabulous, Sean, and maybe it's 10. Let's say it's 10,000. But you
No, but
invest
I'm just
10
saying,
and-
Martin, it may be 7,500 for me, but I'm sure that there are other companies where you can spend a lot more than that too.
right.
I have a friend that before I started said he paid 1,500 to stage a really small 2-bedroom, and it didn't even come with knickknacks. It was just basically they rented furniture from
1,500 or 15,000.
15,000.
Fair enough.
So
fair
yeah,
enough.
so
Okay.
yeah, so I think it can be very expensive. So I think you want to find someone good and who's affordable, but the value is, you know, it's in what you said. The numbers are there to be, you know, they're the facts.
Yeah, fair enough. So if you don't mind, going back and thank you for affirming, let's say 7,500 to 10,000 for a 1-bedroom, and you're getting an extra 75, you know, you're talking a multiple of 7.5 to 10x of your investment. The other thing is, and one of the specialties that we have, and this is where Adilah and Ramses really helps us out, is about a third of our business comes from sellers who try to sell their property 1, 2, even 3 times, and were not able to sell it. This is a plug here from us. We come in, we do a full analysis of everything and take a look at it. And, you know, with us, styling and staging is included. And time is the other thing, as opposed to a property being on the market, you know, average still here in the city is about 130 days. Our properties, when they're styled and staged properly and priced fairly, go into contract in about 45 to 60. So that's a third to half the time of the average. And look, if you have an empty apartment and you have a mortgage on it, do you go to the bank and say, hey, how about if I pay you when I close? That doesn't work, right? They say, great, your credit rating is now destroyed. Good luck trying to buy something. So that's the other big added benefit is the, you know, we call that soft costs or time on that. So that's a very good question. Was there any, Adilah, was there any other question? Oh, go ahead, Sean. Did you want to say something?
And I would just say, I mean, I definitely know it's like staging's a thing in New York City, like people get in it. But I encourage people outside of the city who maybe would think also to like really, it's really important to stage and present your property in the best light possible. No matter where you are in the country, it matters.
Yeah, I agree. And a fresh coat of paint goes a long way. That's the most cost-effective way to improve your home. Adilah, was there any questions with the social medias that you're tracking, including Clubhouse?
No questions. We just had a pop in. Scotty's been here. He's with Compass. He's on the 3rd floor.
Oh, hi, Scotty. It's great to see you. Or here, glad you did a pop in. Okay, well, that's kind of our market outlook, which, you know, in summary, is that we had, you know, after the cuckoo crazy 2021, we had a roller coaster 2022, and we are in a moment of calm. I promise you, this moment of calm is not going to last forever. Hopefully, it'll last at least 6 months. So with that, do you have any closing comments for everybody listening, Alex?
Yeah, I do. You know, I'm big on quotes, and I pulled up a quote. This is for buyers. We've been talking a lot about sellers, but for buyers, the best time to buy a home is always 5 years ago. Okay, Ray Brown. You can't time the market. Stop trying. Go out, see the best homes, choose the best one, have your broker negotiate the best deal, live in your home for 3, 5, 7 years. Enjoy.
That's great. That's very great. Adilah, do you want to add anything, or what would you like to have close with?
I just like to say, you know, if anyone is on the fence about selling, I think they should book an appointment, talk to someone on our team. At least you can make a plan of action to get your property on the market, get it sold for the most amount of money in the shortest period of time. So that's my 2 cents. That's
great, Adilah. And I appreciate that. And of course, you know, obviously we'd love to have you work with us. That's why we're doing this. But one of our slogans is we encourage every seller to interview at least 3 brokers, right? And then you get a feel of what's going on. That don't just go with who your neighbor said was great, or your new in-law that just got their license. Talk to people, get different opinions. Hopefully you'll like us. You may not like us, but hopefully you will. And
They
so
will
Sean,
love us.
Sean, what are some of your closing? What would you like to close with?
Oh, it was great. Thank you very much. I mean, I've had a lot of fun.
Oh, great. And thank you, Sean. And again, congratulations on your wild success of your independent company, getting so much business. It's really incredible.
Thank you, Martin, for the plug. It's always better to have somebody else toot your own horn.
Right?
Toot your horn, Martin. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Ramses, you wanna, since this is a conversation, you have anything you want to say, or
I
are you
think you
good?
guys covered all. I mean, I was gonna say what you said, like the sellers, they should interview at least 3 brokers, and I think they're gonna love our energy.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so
I
much.
said we really work hard, Martin. We love what we do, and we work hard at doing it.
And how many languages are we fluent in? 5?
At least.
We can communicate with you somehow.
Somehow.
Right? Including our son, who's very proficient in American Sign Language. He's very excited about that. So anyway, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Ramses. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Adilah. Jared, thank you again for coordinating all this, and Martin Eiden with the Martin Eiden team. We'll see you the next third Thursday of February. Take care, everybody.